I do have to say, it was really incredible watching you last season. As I say, the journey that is Roy Kent is something that we love so much. But I have to say, the rom-com episode will forever live in my heart. Like, just all of
Uh,
the references, everything that you did for that. And I know you're like a huge rom-com fan. So I just have to say, like, I know it's Harry Met Sally,
yeah,
but how much of this rom-com like Renaissance are you into? And when do we get you in one? That's the bigger question.
Jacqueline, I like these questions. I would love to do a rom-com. You're on to me.
Well,
Jacqueline,
tell me.
can you make it
I know
happen?
you'd write yourself one.
Who's in charge? Uh, yeah, maybe I'm working it. Maybe I'm writing some stuff. We'll see. We'll see. I'd love to.
No, I really do dig that. And it's definitely give us something to like keep an eye out for. But the other thing I loved too, I know we're getting ready for what you guys are saying is maybe the end of the story that we wanted to tell. But so
Hmm.
much of last season, the thing that we loved so much was watching you with your niece. I think of everything that
Yeah,
we've sort of seen with Roy Kent thus far. That relationship with Phoebe is just the best. But you're
yeah.
not really shy with the curse words. Is that like, do they do extra fines? Is it like, is it something like the child minders are worried about it, or you just know that when you get cast alongside them, you just got to deal with all the
I
F
think
bombs?
it's in any contract with any kid actor in it. It's like if you have a scene with Brett, there's going to be swearing, and you're either on board with that or you're not. But I agree with you in that I love the scenes with Phoebe, and I think their relationship is really, it's very. I mean, it really is special. She's amazing. Elodie is amazing. She's the best actor we have in the show. She's also the smartest. You know, the story of Roy and Phoebe is really beautiful because you know, I know that Roy is this kind of stoic that kind of assumes the worst of everything. And I think his sister had this baby and the father left and Roy moved to Richmond so that he could help raise her. But I don't know that he probably wouldn't have been like, oh, great news. He'd have just done it because he had to. But he loves this girl, you know, he loves her and she loves him, and they have this very special, it's a really beautiful thing. I really love those scenes. I'm glad you like them.
Is there any like little girl like that in your life, like personal? Are you an uncle? Are
I
you an
am an
uncle?
uncle, and
Is it just like that?
I do have a niece, and I do swear, I do swear at her all the time, and she's she's lovely. What a lovely girl.
I dig it. We actually talked to Brendan, we talked to Coach Beard, and he
Hmm.
mentioned how not only did you write Beard After Hours, but you kept it away from him for so long.
Yeah,
Like y'all
yeah,
were hiding it from him desperately. And he talked about how frustrating that was. It was the only script he ever didn't get to know. How
yeah,
much fun was it adding those little touches to this character who we obviously see almost every time we see Ted on screen, but he's
yeah,
so soft spoken. He's a man of few words, but you know
yeah.
that he's just as integral. So, what was it like giving him extra color?
I mean, that was really fun. It was fun for a number of reasons. One, because we got to make a show like it was almost like what would Ted Lasso be if it was from Beard's point of view? So it's completely different. The theme tune's different. It's a different vibe. It's much darker. So dark. It's much kind of trippier. But also, I love seeing Brendan hula hoop and I love seeing Brendan dance. So it's like, how can we? That was like the end point. We knew it's ending in hula hooping and dancing. You know, Jason always says it's like a love letter to Brendan. It's like we're giving him these gifts because we know he's going to nail all of this stuff that he doesn't normally get to do. And the other thing I love about Beard After Dark is that there's the suggestion that the night you see him have is pretty much like most of his nights. This isn't a one-off crazy night he had. It's like whenever he's not with Ted, this is the kind of that is happening every night.
I dig that. I really do. I love
Yeah.
that. If you could tell me which one of your co stars had the best reaction to your MCU cameo, just shout their name real quick. I would love to know.
Hannah.
I could see that. I could
Yeah.
really see that. First of all, it's good to hear your voice. As one of my favorite nonverbal actors on this show, you give us a lot of face. I will say that. It's actually quite enjoyable to watch. But I will say, coming back for this season, that's, I think, a big part of your character. Is alongside Ted, he is sort of that, like, again, that just that nonverbal beat. And so much of what you do on screen is that. Is that something that you relish as a writer and like somebody that crafts the show, that you're sort of like putting little touches in there for yourself?
I don't know. Like when we're writing the show, there's so many of us in the writers' room who play characters in the show. I think we do a good job of compartmentalizing, and just serving the story as opposed to getting too much into like, what I'd like to do, climb a tree. But that just opens it up for like everyone in the room gets to throw in stuff they'd like to see me do or Brett do or Jason or Phoebe do. So yeah, it's still a group effort. But I always take great joy in in discovering what they've thrown my way.
Well, that brings my next question. This past season, we got Beard After Hours. We really got to spend some time with Coach Beard in a way that we hadn't. How did the sort of story that they ended up going with, what did you know? How much did you know going into it? What was the most surprising thing when you opened up that script?
Yeah, I mean, when we were working it in the room a little bit, I knew, some of the major elements, but then it was taken away from me in a way that no other script has been. I was basically stripped of producer duties on that episode until finally it was like a week from shooting. I was like, "Hey guys, I need to read the script," and they're like, "Fine, fine, 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 fine." The biggest surprise was the whole world of Bones and Honey. I thought Bones and Honey was a really hilarious name for a Shishi, Soho House rival. And our production designer had fun with Bones and Honey as well. Once we finally got there, if you look closely at Bones and Honey, there's like a lot of little fun things going on there. And a minor spoiler: we returned to certain rooms in Bones and Honey this season, so it has borne long-lasting fruit.
Oh, there's fruit. Oh my God, there's honey fruit. I'm sorry. I'm so excited about this.
We go there. We're going there. That's all. That's all.
I dig this. Okay, so you did say it's the end of the story you wanted to tell. What does that really mean? And if so, what are some places that you would want to explore in these spinoffs?
I didn't say anything about spinoffs. I mean, golly.
Well, he did. He said that you guys might be able to do spinoffs since it's like the story you wanted to tell. In my like detective story, I said that meant that it's automatically spinoffs.
Well, then you should interview you, and you should see what you think the spinoffs are. No, I mean, we're still landing this plane before we can think about, what other Spitfires and MiGs we're gonna get up into the air. We just gotta get through this. And yeah, maybe it'll be spinoffs, but maybe it'll be still some version of Ted Lasso. Like everything's on the table right now. But we just cannot see that far ahead until we get this thing out in front of the world and see what they have to say about it.
Okay. I could just hear the Apple snipers right now being like, you did so good. I tried to trick you. You did not fall for it at all. They trained you well.
It's not my first trick rodeo, I'm afraid.
Thanks, Coach. This is like Return of the Jedi. This is after the shocking betrayal. And like we've seen so many, like in so many shows when you see somebody sort of like break bad, obviously Breaking Bad is one of them. What was it like for you to sort of really lean into your Anakin Skywalker turn this season?
I like these Star Wars analogies. I loved it. It's a challenge at times, if I'm honest. A lot of my previous acting roles have been, comedic or like pretty much exclusively comedic. And season 1, Nate is a comedic role. It's only really, I think, in season 2 where we start to see the sort of darker side to Nate and his sort of steady decline, where actually a lot of the humor became. There was still humor in there for that role, but there was also a lot of emotion and dramatic stuff in there that I'm just less competent at, like certainly have less experience at, and so I feel I took a lot of coaching, sort of getting through that. But yeah, a joy because who would have ever guessed that a supporting role and one like Nate would be able to kind of go on such a drastic journey, and it's it's testament to the writers for being able to do that so realistically, I think.
Yeah, don't sell yourself short. The Emmy voters are watching, sir. This is not what we're going for here. You did an incredible job.
No, I completely deserved it.
Well, no, I mean, I think if there's something for you to look at for like anything to be so proud of, that scene where you blow up at Ted, I mean, that to me is just like, that was everything. That fight was everything. And as much as like, nobody likes to watch that show and want to see Ted get his punches. Let's be real, there were some punches that maybe needed to be pulled. What was it like for you sort of approaching that day? Because you kind of have to yell at your boss and like do a good job at it.
I was aware that that scene was coming, so there was quite a lot of, not pressure, but I just knew, I was like, okay, come on, this is going to be a crucial scene in the season finale of season 2. And, typically Jason, in a very sort of Ted-like way, would always be like, are you comfortable with this? And like, should we look at this? And, he really genuinely kind of coached me through it. And, we had Declan Downey, brilliant director as well. But I feel like, Jason's got this really great way of really getting into your head in a really good way in terms of evoking a performance and finding a truth to it such that you can really latch onto that so it has an authenticity. So, by the end, especially when Nate breaks a bit and starts to cry, I mean, it's all just almost real because we'd sort of wound each other up sort of so much to sort of get to that point. And it didn't take long to film, actually. I remember we didn't do many takes of it. Like we kind of tried to sort of get it done late morning, and I think they very kindly shot my coverage first because I was sort of feeling like I sort of could sort of just go for it. And they're just a really great, competent cast, crew who very sort of sensitive on set when there's a particularly emotional scene or anything like that. So yeah, I felt very lucky to be supported so much in that. But it was undoubtedly challenging. Yeah.
I do have to ask, did you enjoy the suits? Was the upgrade in the wardrobe good? Give me thumbs up, thumbs down real quick.
Yeah, no, I did. I think the black suit's an Armani suit, and that's really nice. But I didn't get to keep it.